Hello, Namaste, welcome to Myra Jeevan. There is a quote saying that our health is our wealth. Are we really taking care of our health? So what kind of food we are taking and what is the toxicity in our food that we are taking? Do you all really know? And what kind of water we are drinking? There are a lot of doubts in many people, there are so many questions. So to know all these questions from a great personality of India, here present that Dr. Ramanjanelu sir, agricultural scientist and director for Center for Sustainable Agriculture. I heartily welcome to the show, sir. Thank you, sir.
Namaste.
Namaste, sir. Sir, actually, what kind of food we are taking, how much amount of toxicity is it present in the food what we are taking? We really don't know. Many people are having like, we are taking good food, that is, which are fresh vegetables we are taking, that is good, and that is healthy, we are naturally occurring, naturally we are taking, naturally farming is happening, so from there we are taking good food. They all are having little awareness but don't have a correct awareness about the food what we are taking. So please let us tell us about the food, really what we are taking and what kind of water it affecting or like.
Yeah, see, we are what we eat. So, but what we eat is also what is grown. Many times we all think food comes from supermarket, and now we think it comes from mobile applications like Swiggy, and so our memory doesn't go beyond that. But what they deliver is what is actually grown, and unless there is a safe production, you can't have a safe food. And today, more than 90% of the health problems which individuals face are all because of the wrong food habits we have or the wrong foods which we are eating, and most of them can be traced back to the wrong production practices, because the more chemicals we use in farming, all that chemicals comes back into your food, and not only into your food but also the traces of those chemicals goes into the soil, goes into the air, goes into the water, and then again comes back to us. So whatever is dumped into the farm comes back into your food plate. So many times we don't try to understand what food does to the environment before it comes to your plate, or what food does to the farmers before it comes to your plate. We are at the most worried about what food does to us. That also is not very deeper understanding we have. So we need to understand, in addition to what food does to us, what it does to the environment and to the people who have produced it. Then only this entire food production and consumption system can become sustainable. So that's where we started our work. If you look at, say for example, chemical fertilizers, in the production of chemical fertilizers, lot of energy is used, and then the greenhouse gases which are emitted has lot of impact on the global warming. So today whatever we are seeing as global warming because of the changing climate, near about 28% of the total greenhouse gases are actually contributed by the agriculture, the wrong production practices kind of thing. And the fertilizers which are used in the farm, their use efficiency is very low. Much of it actually gets into the water, and your water gets polluted. So the water bodies today getting polluted is because of the leached out nutrients which are being done. Similarly, soils are getting depleted with nutrition, and whatever is depleted in the soil is reflected into the crops also. So for example, in areas where there is a soil which are deficient in nitrogen, zinc and all, the crops are also deficient in zinc and iron, and then people also will have the deficiency of zinc and iron kind of thing. So a balance in nutrition at the soil management is very important, and shifting towards organic and natural farming is the best way forward towards that. Similarly, the more amount of chemical pesticides which are used, the more and more we use, pests develop resistance, so more and more we need to use. And less than 1% of the pesticides which are used kills insects, rest of it comes into your food and goes into the water. So whatever pesticides which are sprayed around Hyderabad, if you take, all comes into your groundwater, because, and then all comes into your surface water, and that comes into your Himayat Sagar, comes into your tap water. So this is a cycle which goes on. So if you have to break that, you need to break the entire cycle. You cannot clean just your water tap, that's not enough. Actually, unless the source is cleaned, your end up pipe solution doesn't work. So that's, if we can understand that. So if you can understand that, then the responsibility as consumers also shifts towards a responsible consumption and also helping a responsible production. That responsible production, helping responsible production comes by your consumption behavior and also your purchasing behavior. Where are you buying, what are you buying, how you are buying also makes a impact on the way production happens.
Okay, sir. So these pesticides, you are saying, like pesticides and chemical fertilizers, how the impact on farming, sir?
See, one is from a farmer's point of view, the more pesticides you use, pests develop resistance and you will be forced to use more of pesticides. So the best way farmer can manage the insects is not going for pesticides, but identifying the insects in the right time. So it's basically like human health, you also need to identify your plant health and then take steps so that you don't need to use pesticides. So preventive care is the best way to manage insect pests and diseases. So you need to invest on farmers knowledge and skills and then provide clear support for that. So in some areas where governments are able to do that, or some NGOs are able to do that, or where farmers are able to learn, they are able to make that shift. But many areas farmers are driven by the industry advertisements saying use this pesticide, it will solve all your problem, or use this seed, it will solve all your problem. So they get carried away by that and then get into this trap of using more and more chemicals. So moving away from that is what can sustain them. In the last 14 years we worked with lakhs of farmers across the country. We could show that crops can be managed without using pesticides and it can be easily be managed with whatever locally available resources. So that's a knowledge base which one need to create with the farmers level.
So what is the extent of pesticide usage now, like
so I would say if you look at across the country, pesticide usage is increasing. It's almost increasing at 20 to 30% rate. Every state if you see the fertilizer use or pesticide use is actually going up. Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, fortunately for several years, almost from 2004 onwards, there is a explicit effort from the government side to reduce pesticide use. So pesticide use is showing a declining trend. Almost between 2004 and 2018 if you take, there is a significant reduction in the pesticide use. But within the pesticides again insecticide use is going down, but herbicide use is going up. Herbicide is a chemical to manage weeds, that chemical use is going up. So we also need to work on that and then work with farmers in terms of setting up alternatives for weed management. Otherwise chemical pesticides, insecticide use is coming down. But the fertilizer use has remained stagnant. That is another important area which one need to work on. Say Andhra Pradesh government has taken significant steps in terms of training farmers on moving away from chemical fertilizers. That showed almost 20% reduction in the last couple of years. So I think if that trend can continue, more farmers can come into that fold. So more support is provided to the farmers to make shift towards natural farming. Probably the fertilizer use also will come down. So efforts have to be made in terms of training farmers on how to manage crops without using pesticides, herbicides and fertilizers, and also provide support in terms of infrastructure facilities or resources which they need to manage that. If that can be done, shift is quite possible.
Okay, sir. So now in Andhra Pradesh and even like Sikkim, few areas we have seen that there is like they have started organic farming, and even the state has been told that there should be completely organic farming. And now how about our Telangana, like Hyderabad, they are adopting like a.
So in terms of learnings, I think most of the learnings actually came from Telangana. But unfortunately Telangana government proactively is not taking steps, but here and there are sporadic attempts made by both Department of Agriculture, Horticulture or NGOs like CSA, where farmers are shifting towards organic. So there are few villages like Yanabavi and Adavi Masjid which are becoming fully organic or have become fully organic, and these farmers cooperatives are coming together and then trying to market their produce directly. So there are a lot of efforts being made by the NGOs and the farmers to link up to the markets. So that effort is going on. While more structured effort is being taken up by states like Sikkim and Andhra Pradesh. So, Sikkim has become fully organic, Andhra Pradesh is targeting to become fully organic by 2027. So, that systematic effort can help more farmers to come into the fold. I think more systematic approach is required, but in Telangana we have not yet seen such structured and systematic approach.
So, do the government is helping for any campaign to conduct this type of organic farming?
Again, I would say much effort is put in by Andhra Pradesh government and Sikkim, Maharashtra. So, Telangana Rural Development Department is doing such campaign and then doing that. So, it has not yet caught up at the state level, but localized efforts are being made.
Okay, sir. So, coming to the point of like we were told about drinking water.
Yeah.
So, that drinking water what we are consuming is how it is polluted and how the plants are being polluted due to that.
Two kinds of pollution we see mostly, three kinds of pollution I would say.
It can be prevented like
yeah, so three kinds of pollution we see in drinking water. One is the chemical pollution. Chemical pollution coming from farms with the fertilizers and pesticides which are used, they get leached into the water, or microbial pollution because sewage is not managed well. So, many of the health problems we see are because of these two things. Third kind of pollution also comes from the minerals which are normally present. Say we have seen high doses of aluminium in many of the groundwaters which are in Telangana. So, like that. So, it could be either from a minerals which are naturally available in the soil which pollutes the groundwater, or it could be the microbials because of the wrong disposal of waste, basically human sewage or other waste material, or the chemicals which are let into the water. So, the industrial waste as well as agriculture chemicals, agrochemicals kind of thing. Mostly it is agrochemicals which are dumped into the groundwaters and then they come back into your water. And while we may see that we are using our groundwater in our own place, but all ground aquifers are connected. So, the pesticides which are used in Warangal can come into the groundwaters of Hyderabad, whatever is dumped in GD Metlamine can come into Attapur. So, groundwaters are all connected. So, the groundwater aquifers are connected. Many times we do not realize that. Second, whatever is let out into the atmosphere, say in terms of air pollution, vehicular pollution or industrial pollution which is left into the air, or the pesticides while spraying which is left into the air also comes back onto the ground because of the rain, and then it goes into the groundwater or surface water. So, all pesticides which are sprayed in say on the banks of Manjira comes back into the Manjira river and then comes back into your water. So, like initially I said, these are all cyclic systems. So, if you want to break it, you need to break the source, not at the consumption level. So, end of pipe solution does not work, particularly with water, because everything gets contaminated kind of thing. Second problem with water we often ignore is say India receives rainfall, though we have 365 days in a year, we get rain in only about 45 days. And because of the weather change and climate change, we are seeing that rain comes today, it is only about 25 days kind of thing. And within that 25, most of the rain, more than half of the rain comes in less than 10 days. So, how do you save water of which is received in these 10 days, so that the remaining 355 days you can use it, is the plan one should have. So, individual house should have that plan, individual farm should have that plan, village should have a plan, city should have a plan, state should have a plan. Unfortunately, we do not have that. As a result, what we are seeing is when there is a heavy rain, all roads, all farms, all villages gets flooded, and rest of the days you do not have water, you worry about your drinking water and then domestic use water or irrigation water. So, you should have a clear sustainable water planning. So, water budgeting at farm level, household level, village level or district level, state level is very important. How much rain we receive, how you can use that rainfall efficiently is something which one need to make. So, based on that, harvest your water, do not let out any water from your house, do not let out any water from your farm, harvest as much as you can, reuse the water, recycle the water or recharge your groundwater. These three things one need to make. Without doing that, whatever you let out all comes and floods your roads, floods your crops, floods your villages, all this is happening because of that. So, you need to have a clear plan of rainfall use efficiency. So, I think that is something one need to make. Second, do not contaminate, I think cut down the source of contaminations, whether it is an industrial source, whether it is a farming source or a household source, cut down on that, and see that that contamination of water is prevented. And lastly, whatever is available in the soil, you can't do anything about it. So, if the groundwater is already contaminated, you can't do anything about it. That is where you need to set up cleaning mechanisms, so that whatever you supply can be cleaned. So, at least for stop polluting from now onwards, start saving waters, use it more efficiently. I think that is the approach one need to take.
Thank you, sir, for giving this information. Such a valuable information about the water and the food what we are taking. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.